Morning everyone, how are you guys doing? I hope you are well. Today is a bit of a different video because I am filming with 4x4s. Now let me explain that in a bit, but I am back with George, GMK, over here. You can follow on Instagram, GMK001 and all the other places. And basically, he's recently gotten a Porsche Macan Turbo. And as you know, in the family we have a Porsche Macan S Diesel. So I thought what I'd do today is show you the differences, compare them, and see if it's worth upgrading to a turbo. So I'm gonna walk you around the car now. First of all, we're gonna do exterior differences, then interior differences, and then the difference you can feel when you drive the turbo compared to the S Diesel. So I've already done a bunch of videos on the Macan S Diesel, collection videos, surprising my dad with the car and all this stuff for his birthday. So you guys can go see that if you're interested. I'll put a link somewhere around here. What we're gonna do is do the interior and then drive the turbo, and I'll let you know what I think and if it's worth upgrading. But interesting looking cars. I don't know if you would be able to tell straight away from the outside if there are differences, but let's walk you around the little differences right now. First exterior difference is very, very small, but you can tell are these sort of front LED running lights. So I only have one on the S Diesel. On the Macan Turbo, you have these two little running lights, and on this car, they've actually been painted black here with a black grille, which looks really nice. But I seem to remember when speccing out this car that you can get the Macan Turbo body kit for the S Diesel. It's like 8,000 euros or something though. The front little fog lights here are different, so basically the whole front bumper is slightly different. You can't tell unless you look carefully, but there is a little difference here. So let's move a bit further back in the car and I'll show you the other differences that there are between this one and this one. So one thing which doesn't apply on these particular cars are the rims. These are the Macan Turbo rims, but I love them so much. They're 22-inch rims. I actually spec them on the S Diesel. They're about between 4,000 and 5,000 euros, but I think they look so good that you just had to do it. So these are the turbo rims, so normally you wouldn't see the Diesel with these. On this car, he's got the colored logos. I went for the black and white sort of logo there. Another difference on these particular specs, if we move back a tiny bit, as you'll see, there's this sort of like little area here, which is usually plastic. This is just plastic, but you don't really see it because it's a dark color. But on a white car, you really notice the plastic. Whereas here, it's been specced out in carbon. So that isn't standard on the Macan Turbo, but George being spec god, he has specced that on. I've just been corrected, not 22-inch, 21-inch. My bad, sorry, let's continue. One little thing that we've actually both specced on our cars is you can get this whole surround here and these little in-between door parts in piano black. So we both spec those, but something I spec that George doesn't have on his are these roof sort of holders here that you can use to put your ski box and things like that, and also got those in black. We both also got the privacy glass, but where things get really different, where I can always tell if it's a turbo or not, are around the back, and particularly with the exhausts. This is on the S Diesel. You have 4, so on each side you'll have 2 circular exhausts and a little diffuser here. Because if we just run over to the Macan Turbo now, I'll show you what it's like on that car. Around the back with the Macan Turbo, you've still got the 4 exhausts, but this time they're more of sort of a rectangular square shape. And also, it's been specced out on this car to have the diffuser in aluminium. On mine, it's just plastic, basically. Then obviously, you've got the logo up here, which is a bit of a giveaway, but you can spec it so it doesn't have that. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna show you what both of these cars sound like when you're revving them, so you can tell the difference. So this is inside Macan S Diesel. So this is like grey leather effectively. And a few things I want to point out with this. It's all lovely. I've already shown you around it. We've got the piano black finish on the dash and on the doors. But I'm going to jump straight into George's car because I'm not going to walk you around the spec on this one anymore. Because you can go watch other videos. All the links will be in the description and blah, blah, blah. But I'll show you what's different in the turbo. Now in the turbo, first main difference is that George is really tall, so I'm obviously a lot further away from the steering wheel. But little things that you'll notice, he's got the aluminium finish on the doors and the dashboard. One of my favorite options, which I'm actually really sad we didn't get in our car, is the Sport Chrono pack. So it gives you this little timer right here on the sort of dash, which I think looks really cool, but we didn't get that. That's a nice difference. You've then got Alcantara roof lining all the way on the roof, which is lovely. Both got the sunroof, that's on my car as well. And then a few little differences, the rev counter is different and all that stuff, so I'll inlay a little image of that right now. And then down here, a few different buttons. So I've only got Sport. On the Turbo you got Sport Plus, you can adjust the suspension, you can lower the ride, and those things I don't have on my car. But apart from that, it is basically all the same in here, which is no complaint. Oh, he's also got the Bose sound system. We just got the standard Porsche one. But yeah, it's a very, very pleasant place to be. Alright, here we go then, in the Macan Turbo. So I've never driven the Turbo. You know what, I'm going to reverse and then I'll start talking to you guys. First thing you notice is that it's a lot more responsive. The throttle response is a lot more just there and present. And there's a little bit of a growl that goes with it. Right now I've got it completely in normal, not in Sport or in Sport Plus. It feels obviously very, very similar. It's an automatic right now, I'm not on the paddles. But it feels nice. I mean, it basically, when you're doing these speeds, it feels pretty much the same. Although there was a bit more weight to the steering. A bit more weight and a tiny bit more feel in the steering. I don't know if that's just a turbo thing or if that's my imagination, but that's the way it feels right now. So we're going to go on to what you guys know to be as one of my favorite roads, and we're going to experience the acceleration, the noise, and the response. I'm going to put it into manual, use the paddles, and let's start off with Sport. So it has this thing where you can lower the car as well, this turbo, which is an option on the Macan S Diesel. Wow, well, okay, so after the first acceleration you understand that there is more power. To be precise, there's about 100 more horsepower. Mine has 306 horsepower, this one has 400 horsepower. And you do feel a slight difference. I mean, it's not massive. It's not a huge difference. The main thing is there's noise, actually. When you accelerate in this one, and on the upshift, there's a little, like, growl, which sounds quite nice. So that's the main sort of thing that you notice, as well as the acceleration. The cornering is amazing. The chassis on this car, Porsche really nailed it with the Macan chassis, because you feel like you're driving a sports car, even though you're effectively in a 4x4. Yeah, it feels good. It feels good, and the brakes are just crisper feeling than in the diesel. Something that's always bugged me with the Macan is the brakes are really grabby, and I don't know what it is, but they just don't feel quite as grabby in this car. These aren't carbon ceramics, but they feel just slightly more powerful. They've maybe just been retweaked. The gearbox is still amazing. It's a 7-speed double clutch gearbox from Porsche PDK, and that's always been good and still is. It's just unbelievable. You know what this is? It's like my car, or my family's car, just sort of turned the notch up to 11 effectively. So it's so similar, but different in every little way possible. And the acceleration is just that little bit better. And the noise, yeah, this is nice. This is really nice. The steering's a tiny bit heavier, the brakes are a tiny bit crisper, the acceleration is a tiny bit more powerful, the noise is a tiny bit louder, but everything put together makes it just really nice. It's kind of the difference you feel when you drive like a 458 or a 458 Speciale. It's like everything is just slightly better, and you do feel it, you really do. I'm not going to repeat myself because I've already said it in the diesel. Just the general feeling of this car, like the quality feel and sort of this sturdy feel, it's something you can't really sort of talk about, and words don't really do it justice. But when you're in this car, you feel solid and you feel just luxurious, and like you can just sort of take over the world. That's the way this car makes you feel. It's slightly lower as well, and you do feel that due to the suspension. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop it into Sport Plus. Ooh, the gear shifts are a bit quicker now. Let's go down into first. Little acceleration over this hairpin. Lovely, 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 lovely feeling car. Sport Plus, here we go. I like the gear shift noise. And just the fact that you can hear the car rather than it being completely silent like in my car. I mean, it shifts. For a 4x4, this thing is unbelievable. Oh yes. It's like a surge of power. There's a lot more torque in this car as well, so the power is more instantaneous. So the throttle response, especially in Sport Plus, is just instant. You don't feel like this car is turbocharged at all. is something, I mean, you could worry about with these cars, but Porsche are so good at doing cars that just do not feel turbocharged at all. It feels naturally aspirated. And the noise you can somewhat hear that it's turbocharged. There's a little bit of a whoosh, but nothing too noticeable. But mainly, look, if I put my foot down now, off you go. What a pleasant, pleasant car. And that's my conclusion, really. There's not much else I can say apart from this car is, surprisingly, it's better. I'm kidding, of course we knew it would be better. It's a more expensive, tweaked version of the S Diesel. Is it worth the extra money? If you have it, why not? You know, I'm not sure it'd be worth stretching yourself as far as you could to get it, because the differences aren't that noticeable unless you're doing what we're doing right now, which is blasting it on a country road. Which, to be honest, how often are you going to do that with your Macan? If you're just cruising around town, fuel consumption's better in the diesel and stuff, but overall it is a better car. And it makes a noise, which is something that you can't really put a price tag on in these cars. Conclusion is, I like this car, and yes, it is better than the S Diesel. Okay guys, that's pretty much it then from the Porsche Macan sort of review. Turbo or S Diesel, depends what you're going to use the car for. If you're going to thrash it, get the turbo. If you're going to just poodle around town or go on long trips, then get the S Diesel. And it all depends also on your options that you get in the car. But anyways, thank you so much for watching, guys. I will see you again for another video very, very soon. Remember to go follow George on Instagram and all the social medias. And yeah, please remember to subscribe. I'll see you soon. Cheers.